Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant aka Admin Doug continues to protect our freedoms.
When the Sons of Liberty is joining with the Black Panther Party, I also just want to make sure that we are joining with the right people. So go ahead. I'm going to leave this up.
People that know me know that I'm not a person that put people on blast. I don't. If somebody tries to attack me on social media, I don't do tit for tat, but I must respond to this. First, he was pretending like he was in the Nation of Islam, and he was doing like the little Malcolm X type of persona, like, you and I. And they're like, nah, you're not in the money. Then he went to pretend to be a Pyru, and he paid one of the elders, Baba Louie, to say he was his father, and he was pretending to be a Pyru. Now, the Pyrus contacted me personally, and it was also confirmed by Ayatollah Mars, who's the oldest living Pyru. This dude never was a Pyru, but back then, when all of these things happened, they like, nah, you're not even a real Pyru, you're not from LA. So then he took the Pyru to Pyru music, or wanted to do so-called gangsterish rap. And so he was like, using 1990s California lingo, like, you bust through your mark. And he did music, and he put Snoop Dogg on it with his picture, Rick Ross, and Dipset. And he put their lyrics with his lyrics in their picture, saying it wasn't they ousted him. So all of a sudden, he was cosplaying these personas. Then he just started cosplaying Panther. He showed up in Philadelphia about 8 to 10 months ago with this one video that the first video to go viral that made his presence viral. He was on a sidewalk about 20 or 30 feet from police. He was like, you can't come 80 feet. I got a concealed weapon permit. It was just an incident for no reason. So that went viral. Then the other day he did the safe light repair, safe light replace. I put the hole in the side of a window, and we the same Panther Party, just a little bit more aggressive. First and foremost, unless you did 10-hour shootouts with police, you are not more aggressive. Secondly, unless you got comrades or you've been in political imprisonment yourself, you're not more aggressive. And so I'm just going to say this. I thought that was disrespectful, and a lot of things were disrespectful. But also in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you can look it up yourself. The Revolutionary Black Panther Party, we have been active, and I'm going to say the chapter coming out of the 60s and 80s, as a Panther formation, we've been reactivated in the city of Philadelphia for almost 15 years, about 14 years in particular. We got plaques from the city for our work, housing people, feeding people. So when he showed up, it was just weird because it's not really anything going on and living off of the legitimacy of our work and legacy. Capitalism was an institutional experiment that was created by the chattel enslavement of a people, the exploitation of one person by another person. Out of this paradigm, we even got the birth of racism, 1676. And I'm just getting somewhere with this now. 1676, the Bacon.
Take your time, brother.
1676, the Bacon Rebellion. Black slaves and white slaves got together to fight the ruling class. When the ruling class, when the oligarchs, when the bourgeoisie saw this particular dynamic, they said, no, we got to do something about it. So the concept of race was created, aka racism, aka racial warfare, aka white supremacy, and black and white privilege, and a structural dynamic. And then we continue to be oppressed because of now, not just our origins, but now race, ethnicity, and culture. Moving right along, we went through so many skirmishes with that. After the Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation, the racism became highly structural. Different things came about. People like to argue and say, oh, well, the Democrats started the Ku Klux Klan, which is true. The Democratic Party basically engages in, social norms. The people, they said they wanted to restore America back to, its value, which was a white supremacist status quo. And the Republicans started Jim Crow because they deal with the corporate racism and white supremacy. So they both are dealing with the same thing, just in their own way. So it's an argument that becomes dead, right? So, but let's get back to this point, though. So to answer the question, so there's always been an ongoing war racially in this country to return Black people back to that plantation living condition. That's what Jim Crow was all about. The U.S. government came up with it was Louis Giuffrida. I think you spell his name Giuffridda. And his actual was called Racial Imperative, National Security Racial Imperative that he gave to the Army War College. He listed that the rounding up of all Black people in America and putting
Louis G's, give me that name again.
Luis. The last name is, as a matter of fact, let me give you the direct spelling so I'm talking so you can just give me 1 second. I'm gonna give you his exact name because I guess for premise it's important, and I give you the direct citation to look up because I'm getting somewhere of how this is our fight on the front line. So Louis Giuffrida, let's see. Okay, here it goes. So we have his name is spelled Luisgiuffrida. Let's see. Let me just double check. Giu. Okay, you look him up. So Louis Giuffrida. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah. So Louis.
He was a director of FEMA at one time. I think I know that history a little bit.
So National Survival Racial Imperative, 1970 U.S. Army War College.
Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.